got something cool for you guys today. This is the humidification system that I like to use in my shop. Ever since moving from Oregon to Arizona, I have to humidify rather than dehumidify to keep a constant environment in the shop. I like these units because I never have to do anything to them. By nature, I don't like emptying buckets, filling buckets, doing anything. I want to plug this into a hard line in my shop to where it automatically fills itself, and I can rest assured that my shop's always at the right humidity, even if I'm going to a guitar show or disappearing for weeks on end. This unit is made by KR3, K-E-R-I. They have been pretty trustworthy in my shop over the years. The only main importance you gotta pay attention to is the type of water that you're feeding it. They are susceptible to high mineral content in the water. So if you're not reverse osmosising the water, or like me, I use rainwater, then you're gonna destroy these things pretty quick. I will put a plug in for the benefit of rainwater here because it's natural distilled water and I never have to worry about it outside of sediment filtration. These units work really well. I will be putting a link into the description as to where you can pick these things up direct. I buy them direct from the source. They are made in China. It will take a while as they put it on a boat, and can take months from the point of which you order it to the time it gets to your door. But it is well worth it, and it's worth the wait, especially at the price point that these come in at. So before hanging this unit up, I thought I'd take a moment to show you guys why I like this thing. Unlike the ones I've had in the past, this one is an electronic display. It also connects to Wi-Fi, which is kind of fun, as after you download the app for this machine, you can, from any place where you have a connection, see what your humidification is at in your shop and change it if you desire to. The old ones came with just a knob that you would set the humidification to, and that was it. There's a part of me that likes the simplicity of what that is. However, I travel a lot and I'm a paranoid person, so I like to make sure at all times that things are safe in the shop. So this unit does hang on the wall. You can see from the back there are 2 points here and here that you put the screw in the wall and it hangs up vertically. There are 3 ports here onto the side, one of which is used to put the water in. The other one is a drain, and then lastly an overflow in the event that anything was to fail. The water comes out at the appropriate place and you can have that drained accordingly. What you see here are all the different accoutrements that come with this machine. I kind of like what they do here. They use push-to-connect fittings that I use everywhere in my shop. Some of which I have here, which I'll talk about later. This comes pre-assembled, which is pretty fun. I don't have to do a whole lot to get this machine up and onto the wall. The only thing I did have to do to these prior to installation is put these little rubber gaskets into the fittings, which they do come with. So what I'm holding here is the drain and overflow valve. And it really is quite simple. You'll just connect these and bend this one over into these 2 slots. And then this individual unit, whether you use the 1/4-inch tube or a 3/8 tube, both of which are provided, you'll put that on the feed side of this humidification system. They're even nice enough to include both 1/4 and 3/8 tubing, which is pretty fun. So that's really all you need to know about putting this thing in. Once you put the hoses up, hang it up, plug it into a water line, and you're off to the races. To my right here are the kind of valves and push-to-connect fittings that I like to use. You will see these all over my shop, even one here and on top of me here that I use for vacuum purposes. You can use them for pneumatic purposes, vacuum purposes, fluid couplings. They're really quite brilliant. And because they're made out of steel, I generally just like that better because I know they're robust and they won't crack. These particular fittings, or this valve that I have in my hand, is one of my absolute favorite valves on earth. It's made by AIG NEP. Again, the link for these will be in the description. along with these fluid couplers, which are made by a variety of different people. I believe these are made by Parker, but this same company that makes this valve makes them as well, and they're just as great. You can get these in a variety of different formations, from T's to elbows with one end with a thread. These are what I tend to create with them, which is a valve with 2 push connects on either side. I use a lot of the 1/4-inch tubing in my life, from everything from air to vacuum, from rosetting to gluing on bridges. I have them placed all over my shop. And these little valves, they turn so beautifully. It is a ball valve. And I've never had a single one over the course of 20 years fail on me. So I highly recommend these things for any application you can think of. As far as the water line that leads into this, I'm actually using one of these valves and a 1/4-inch line that feeds it. And again, it works flawlessly. The electronics on this come in multiple different ways. At the time I was ordering these, the company only had Euro plugs, and I am nothing if not an electrical nerd, so I had no qualms using one of these plugs, even though I'm here in America, and I have none of these plugs available inside of my shop. I tend to hardwire a lot of stuff, and what's neat about a machine that's built to run off of a Euro plug, it is a non-polarized unit, so there is no neutral in here, but you can in fact use one of these lines as a neutral. This unit is set to take anywhere from 100 volts up to 240 volts, which is, for someone like me, that's pretty fun. That's amazing. So I could run a 220 volt single phase line to this machine and use it, and technically it'll be running on half the amps that a single phase 110 line will do. However, where I'm going to be mounting these machines, I don't happen to have 220, at least not right now, so I'm going to be wiring them to 110 volts. And so all I have to do to this to convert it is I'm going to snip the end of it, and there's going to be 2 wires inside of this thing. And any one of them can end up being a neutral and the other being a hot wire running 110 volts to the machine. It really does not matter which wire you actually use. So it's very simple to do. I'll show you examples in how I mounted this in a little bit. For now, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing prepped and get it on the wall. So as I mentioned earlier, I had my unit delivered to me with a Euro plug on it that I'm converting to a US plug, which means I got to add a neutral and only 1 hot leg rather than 2 hot legs, which is what a Euro plug has. I mentioned that it doesn't matter once I cut into the Euro plug which one of the 2 legs is neutral versus hot. They're pretty brilliant in how they set up their electronics over there to where it's universal. One of the things I really recommend for those of you out there that haven't been doing this very long or perhaps never thought of it is anytime I throw away or I have to get rid of a machine, for example, in front of me, a palm router, I had one that burned out on me and I decided it was time for it to go. One of the things I have a tendency of doing is cutting the power cord off of it. Why? Because they are so incredibly useful in my life. Rather than having to go out and get a brand new SO cord to an extended line that I need to do today for this humidification system, I can go ahead into my little storage cabinet and pull out a perfectly already wired in 110 plug with the 2 leads that I need. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that today, and it's a pretty simple rudimentary thing to do, but if you've never done it, I'm sure it might seem a little intimidating. I assure you it is not. All you need is to cut back the sheathing on this SO cord, have things like a crimp, wire cutters, a scalpel, some tape, and of course the 2 crimps that you're going to need to connect the wires together. Outside of that, it is simply as easy as cutting them, connecting them, taping it up to make sure it's secure, and plugging it in, and you're good to go. All right, so I'm just going to strip these wires down. I usually go about 3/8 to 1/2 of an inch to expose the wire. One thing that's important to know with this too is to match your wire gauge. size. In this case, these humidification systems really aren't drawing a whole lot of power. And so, of course, they're able to get away with using small gauge wire. In this case, we're using 18 gauge. And so I'm using a coupler that ranges from 22 to 16 AUG to ensure that you get a proper connection with this. So now that I have this SO cord cut back and ready to go, you can see here how the plug from this machine is kind of dangling here, and I don't want to put the connection right here and have it visible. So I'm actually going to dial this thing back a little bit, cut it behind the machine, make it all hidden behind there. That way I can just make it look a lot neater when it comes to dangling down from the unit itself. So I have a 1/4 inch poly tube here in front of me. It's what I commonly use in my shop. Don't cheap out on this stuff. There is, when you call it a 1/4 inch diameter poly tube, it's only relating to the outside diameter. It doesn't relate to the inside diameter. So some of this stuff can get pretty thin, so pay attention to the PSI rating of this tubing when you get it. Another thing that I really wanted to talk to you guys about is how you cut this stuff. It's so common for us to use a pair of cutters, just like this one, wire cutters, whatever it is, and just snip the end. It's really easy to do. However, it leaves you with a non-round cut in. It compresses it as it cuts and leaves a pretty crappy looking into this. Whereas this product, this one happens to be made by Coil Hose Pneumatics. You can pick these up on MSC or Granger, so many different online sources. And what this does is, instead of leaving a rough cut like this, it looks still perfectly round and clean. And anytime I'm using a push to connect fitting, I want to make sure that my end is clean and round. So just to demonstrate, a much nicer looking cut. All right, so now the new wire is plugged into an outlet behind me. I have hidden the joint of this wire behind the machine. Naturally, this wire wants to come down here off of the right side of the machine, but because of my picture of my alma mater, Roberta Venn, I decided to take the wire, wrap it up around the top, and have it come down here on this side. The water is now turned on. The reservoir inside of the machine is filled up. So all I have to do at this point is turn the machine on, and at which point I can download the app, hook it up in there, register the machine, and adjust it to whatever settings I want to put it at. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of these new humidification systems. Be sure to subscribe to my new YouTube channel where I'm going to be having lots more content about all the goings on inside the Kraut Guitar Workshop. If you have any questions about this video, feel free to give me a comment down below and I'll get back to you.